Hello and welcome to the garden. My name is Lindsay. I wanted to take a minute to introduce myself a little bit. We've had a lot of new people join recently, so hello. This is my garden currently. It is covered in snow, with more to come this weekend, I think. So I live in zone 6A in South Central Indiana. This is my growing space. It's about 300 square feet of all in-ground growing space. Now, I do use some like grow bags and pots and things like that, but most of my food is grown in the ground. We are lucky to have pretty decent soil here that I do amend each year. So this is my garden. It is frozen and there's not much out here right now. I do have a pretty large strawberry patch right here that you cannot see right now, that will be moving this spring, but I wanted to come out and show you my space even though it's cold and it's snowy, because we have had so many new people join in the last few weeks. So hello. Today we are going to be talking about everything that I am growing this year in 2021. I have all my seeds in the house and I'm super excited to talk about them all. So I'm gonna go inside to my office where you cannot see my breath and there's no snow on the ground, and we will go through this list. All right, I'm back inside where it's warm. I have my box of seeds here and we're gonna go through these. Now, I will say that I do not own currently all the seeds I'm planting, mostly tomatoes. My best friend Katie and I are actually doing a seed swap this year for tomato seeds, and we haven't done that yet. So I have some varieties on my list that I don't actually have in my hands the seeds yet, but I will. So what we're gonna do is we are going to go through every variety of everything I'm going to plant this year, and I will tell you where I got the seeds, if I've planted them before or if they're a first time plant, and also any other thing I can think of about each variety. Okay, so I'm going to show you my garden plan. Now, I did my garden plan a little bit different this year. I actually did it on my iPad with my Apple Pencil. In the app, it's an app called GoodNotes. It lets you create notepads and use all different types of papers. I used just like a squared graph paper to do mine so I could kind of get it to scale of the space I have outside. So this is my spring garden, and you'll notice I have some cattle panels in the back of the garden where my tomatoes are. I have the middle part open with some kale and some lettuce. I have my arch trellis up at the front, and it has pole beans and cucumbers. And then to the left of that, I have my one lavender bush that is a perennial, and I have my pepper patch. Now this is the spring and early summer version, and this is the late summer and fall version, which the only thing that's different is the kale and lettuce are gone and some squash plants are in its place. So I'm just going to be doing some simple bush varieties of squash, like a zucchini, a yellow crookneck, that type of thing. So let's get started going through this little box of seeds. So first up is beans. Now last year in 2020 grew bush beans and pole beans. In 2021, I am only doing pole beans. I'm not doing bush beans. So my pole beans are going on one side of my cattle panel arch trellis, and my cattle panel trellis is actually made with two panels that are side by side. So I actually have an 8-foot long tunnel that is made of two panels, because panels are 4 feet wide by 16 feet long. I have my panels set out in the yard with T-posts, 2 T-posts on each panel, on each side, and they are, I think, 6 feet apart. So the first variety we're going to be doing is the Kentucky Wonder Pole Bean. I did this in 2020, really liked it. Didn't plant this until later in the season though, so we're actually going to plant this earlier in the season this year. And these were from M.I. Gardener. The next variety is the Rattlesnake Pole Bean, and these were from Baker Creek. These I did grow last year and I absolutely loved them. These are probably on my always regrow list at this point. And the last variety I'm doing for 2021 is the purple potted pole bean, also from Baker Creek. I also really love these a lot. I did grow these last year as well. Really liked them, very prolific, and not a lot of seeds, or not seeds, not a lot of strings. They weren't stringy at all, and neither were the rattlesnakes. I will say that with these beans, it's important to pick them when they're young so you don't get the stringiness. Now, I will also say that the purple potted pole beans, if I did miss some and pick them a little bit bigger, they were not super stringy. The next thing on my list is cucumbers. Now, some of these cucumbers seeds I've had a while, and so they're not in their actual package like these are in a bag. These are Green Dragon burpless cucumbers. These are from Livingston Seed Company. There's my little handwritten label. These came from Rural King a few years ago. I did write packaged for 2019 on here. So they are a couple years old, but they still grow just fine. These are a delicious, like, English style cucumber. They don't have a ton of gel and seeds in them like some of the pickling varieties do. Really like these. I might just always grow these. They're just so good. And then I have another variety I grew last year, which was the Muncher from Baker Creek. Now, last year I didn't have very good success with cucumbers. I don't know what the deal was, because I did everything just like I did the year before, and the year before I was absolutely buried in cucumbers. So I'm not like quite sure what happened there, but I'm hoping that this year I will have more success. I am doing 4 different types of cucumbers and 1 plant of each, so 4 plants of cucumbers. The next variety of cucumber is called the Chinese snake cucumber. These seeds came from Seeds Now. I had not really ordered from Seeds Now before last like fall, and I actually really like how they do this. These packs of seeds were 99 cents. There's approximately 10 seeds in here, so not a ton, but you know, I can save my own cucumber seeds, or if I decide I really like this and I want to buy more seeds, I can. The next one and the last one is the Straight 8 cucumber from Botanical Interests, and I am really excited about these. These are just a like classic cucumber. It's a slicing cucumber, and it says it's perfect, it's excellent for salads and dill pickles. So I don't know, I thought, well, let's try something else. We have 3 varieties, let's do another new one. And so I grabbed these Straight 8 cucumber seeds. And if you are not familiar with some of these seed companies, I highly suggest all of them. I have not had a bad experience from any of these seed companies. Botanical Interests in particular, on the back of their seed packets, they give you so much information. They even show you what the seedling looks like, and there's actually more information on the inside of the packet too, which, like, how cool is that? Like, that's just awesome. The next thing I have is herbs, and I am going to do a lot of herbs. I normally do quite a few herbs. I have gotten better about actually using the herbs I grow instead of just growing them and then not really doing anything with them. I also sell plant starts in the spring, and so I usually start way more herbs than I need to sell or just include with people's orders of other plants as well. So this year I am actually doing a really nice kind of variety of basils in particular. So last year I grew this one, and I will be regrowing it. This is the Emily basil from Baker Creek. This is just like a classic, like, Italian Genovese type basil. It is delicious, it's prolific, and I did not really have any issues with it being unhappy until much later in the season, which is great. And then I have a couple new varieties from Seeds Now. This one is lettuce leaf basil, which is like a huge leaf basil. I actually have heard of people using the leaves as like wraps for like a wrap. I'm like, okay. interest has peaked on that. So got some of those seeds to try. Again, these little packets are 99 cents and they have like this one has 120 seeds in it. Actually, maybe this one was more than 99 cents, but I know this one was. This is the dark opal basil, also from Seeds Now, and this one has 50 seeds in it, and that was only 99 cents. So again, if you want to try some varieties, that's a great place to do it for pretty cheap. And then I'm also doing Thai basil, which again is in a bag with a handwritten label on it, but the seeds came from In My Gardener. I'm also doing some more Italian parsley. This is flat leaf parsley. Again, it's in a bag. Parsley is a perennial here, I think, but I've never been able to get it to come back. I don't know why, but I don't know. Whatever. I plant it, it comes up, and we eat it, so whatever. The next two that are also supposed to be perennials, maybe they are, and I don't know. But oregano and thyme, these are both from Livingston Seed Company from Rural King. I like these seeds. I've never had an issue with Livingston seeds, but I do hate the seed packets because they have this hole in them for hanging, and so when you go to open them, you have to open them on the bottom, which is kind of annoying, but it's okay. And then I'm going to do 2 types of dill this year because for some reason I also had trouble with my dill last year, and I don't know why, because the year before I was drowning in it. So this is another variety from Seeds Now. This is called Ducat dill. And then this is just a variety called Mammoth Dill from Livingston Seed Company. Again, it's in a bag. The packets sometimes give up on me and I put them in Ziploc bags. These little tiny bags. And the last thing, this isn't really an herb, but I don't know where else to, other category to put it in. So I'm going to try to do some of these bunching onions. Now, I know that you can, when you buy green onions or scallions at the store, you can just cut the root systems off at the bottom and plant them. And I actually have done that before. And actually, I do it still. I literally, when I buy green onions at the store, I put them in a cup of water on the counter and just use them as I need them, and they will just keep growing. So I do that, but I don't know. I'm kind of curious about doing them from seed. These are burpee seeds. I got these at Menards, I think. Menards sells burpee seeds, and I have also never really had an issue with burpee seeds. So my rule of thumb is get your seeds wherever you want. It doesn't really matter. Seeds are seeds, and if it grows food, then it's worth it. So people tend to get caught up in the heirloom non-GMO seeds, and unless you are a farmer buying like acres and acres worth of seed, you cannot buy GMO seeds to begin with. So when you are seed shopping, don't worry about buying GMO seeds, because you legally cannot buy GMO seeds unless you go to like a agricultural seed company and buy them by the truckload. So don't worry about that. If you buy your seeds at the dollar store, totally fine. They will probably grow. People try to get a little bit uppity about where they buy their seeds, and I've ordered a lot of seeds and from lots of different places and bought seeds lots of different places, and I can't definitively tell you that one seed company is better than another. So, you know, if you buy your seeds at Walmart or at the grocery store or at a boutique seeds shop, it doesn't matter, it's all the same. The next thing I have on my list is lettuce. Now, I showed on my garden plan that I have some lettuce for my spring garden with my kale. This lettuce category also includes kale for me. I guess I could call it leafy greens is probably what I should call it, but I don't. So anyway, so I have lettuce and kale up in this one area of my in-ground garden. I am also planning on doing some raised planters on the other side of my yard. And that's where I will sow things like this, like spinach and stuff like that. Now I'm gonna try to do some like head lettuce in my in-ground space. We'll see if that works. I've never really had success growing heads of lettuce, but I am determined this year and I'm gonna figure it out. So fingers crossed it works. So in terms of my like broad sow type lettuces, this is just a classic mesclun mix. This is from Burpee. Again, I got this at Menards. I also have a packet of this I got for free from Botanical Interests. This is just like a nice mix of lettuce. There's so many of these out there on the market, just lettuce mixes. These are like, if you ever have bought like spring mix at the grocery store, that's kind of what this is. And then I have some American spinach from In My Gardener. I did grow this last year. I didn't get just a ton, but what I did get was good, so we're gonna try it again. I also have some Matador spinach from Botanical Interests. I have no idea if this is different from the other spinach, but again, we're just gonna try it and see what happens. And then I have some of this Slow Bolt arugula from In My Gardener. I did grow this last year. I did actually have pretty decent success with it. I actually grew this in one of those Dollar Tree stackable planters and it did okay. I had it on the side of my planter that was more in the shade for most of the day and it did pretty good. So, and this is actually really good too. So, was pretty happy with that. I'm gonna try it again in a raised planter bed. Okay, so let's move on to the actual lettuce heads themselves. So I have 3 varieties here. I've never grown any of them, so we're gonna, this might not work. I have no idea, but we're gonna try it. This is the Tom Thumb lettuce from Baker Creek. It's like a little baby head of lettuce. And then in a similar fashion, we have the tennis ball lettuce, also from Baker Creek. You'll notice there's a theme here of tiny heads of lettuce because when I bought these seeds, I was obsessed with tiny heads of lettuce because this one is called Little Jim. And it is, it looks more like a romaine head shape. So, I mean, we'll see what happens, I guess. I don't know. This may not work at all, or it might. I have no idea. All right, now kale. This is Nero Toscana from Botanical Interests. And then we have Red Russian from In My Gardener. This is also called Ragged Jack. And then we have Blue Curled Scotch from Baker Creek. So this is the kale that you normally would find in your grocery store. Like when you buy kale in a bunch or if you buy it like in a bag. Blue Curled Scotch is probably what it is. So kale is another thing that I've not ever really had that great of success with. I think the reason is because I planted too close together. So I'm going to try starting some inside and then transplanting them out when it gets warm enough. Let's see what happens. Fingers crossed. So the next thing on the list is peas. And I had never grown peas until last spring. I grew some peas and I really liked them. I was really impressed. I wished I had gotten them out a little bit sooner, but the weather didn't really allow for it and I didn't really know what I was doing, but I did get some peas off of them and they were delicious. So we're gonna try peas again this year. So these first 2 varieties I actually grew last year and I am going to be regrowing them. The Golden Sweet Pea from In My Gardener and the Mammoth Melting Snow Pea also from In My Gardener. These are both really good. They do not get super tall. I did grow them on my arch trellis, but they didn't really get over like 3 feet tall. So if you wanted to grow peas but you don't have a ton of vertical space, they don't really need that much height, I found. So that's pretty cool. And then this is a newer variety for me for this year, the Sugar Magnolia Tendril Peas from Baker Creek. It just, like, look at those. Oh, I'm excited. So, super excited to grow some more peas this year. The next thing on my list is peppers. And so last year, I started my peppers in the pepper seeds in coffee filters, and I will put a link to that down below. I made a video of it last year. It worked out really well for me. I, in the past, have struggled with germination on pepper seeds, And doing it this way let me actually physically see that the seeds germinated, and then I could put them in dirt and they grew beautifully. I was so happy with my pepper plants last year. I did top my plants, which I had not done before. I have never really had that much success growing peppers until this year when I topped them. And that kind of encourages them to grow outwards instead of just growing up. I have in the past had to stake my pepper plants. I've used tomato cages on them. This year I didn't have to do that because I topped them. They got wide and bushy instead of tall and kind of gangly. So I'm excited to see what this year brings in terms of the pepper front. This year am adding a couple new varieties also, which is exciting. This first one is not new, but it's a good one. It is the Craig's Grande Jalapeno from Baker Creek. I grew this last year. I actually ended up with like 5 of these, and I have an absolute ton of frozen jalapenos in my freezer right now. And actually the way I use those, I saw this on Facebook. Someone in a group on Facebook said that they freeze their jalapenos whole. They just shove them in a freezer bag, put them in the freezer. When they need one, they get it out and they grate it into whatever they're using or whatever they're making. And it works perfectly, and it blew my mind. So yeah, that's a thing. I'm also doing these lemon spice jalapenos. I just think these are cool. I love the name, and I think they're cool. You know, they're like yellow, like that's so cool. These are also from Baker Creek. There's actually a whole line of these. There's a pumpkin spice, an orange spice, and a lemon spice, I think. So super excited about those. This is also a new variety this year for me called Anaheim. These are the peppers that you get when you buy like a can of diced chilies at the grocery store. They are usually Anaheim peppers. So I use, not a ton of those, but I use a fair amount, and so I am gonna grow some and just kind of see what happens. And then I'm also going to be doing my Keystone, I can't get the packet. Keystone resistant giant peppers. These are from In My Gardener. These are a sweet bell. I had pretty good success with those last year. They get huge and they are pretty like resistant. It's in the name, but I didn't have bugs in them. Sometimes you get peppers and bugs will kind of bore holes in them. I didn't have any of that. I didn't really have any problems with pests on the plants until much later in the season, and so I was impressed. So I am regrowing those. I'm also going to try these Chocolate Beauty Sweet Bells again, also from In My Gardener. I grew these last year. I only had one plant because when I started my seeds in the coffee filters, these never germinated. I left them in the filters for like 3 weeks, never germinated. And so I didn't know what was going on. I went ahead and planted a couple seeds anyway, and one finally came up. And it was the smallest plant all summer. It did make some peppers and they were good. So I am going to try to regrow them again. I did actually save some seeds this year or last year, and so I may try to do some of my own seeds that I saved and some from the packet that I bought. So we'll see, I guess, what happens with those. The next thing is squash, and like I said, I'm just gonna be doing some zucchini and yellow crookneck. This is an Italian striped zucchini and just a classic yellow crookneck squash, both from In My Gardener. I tried to grow these in grow bags last year. It worked okay. It wasn't the most successful thing I've ever grown, but I'm gonna try them in ground this year and see how that goes. Now, the last thing on the list is tomatoes, and I don't actually have all my tomato seeds. A lot of them are going to be seed swapped. So I'm going to go through the varieties that I actually have here, and then I will tell you the other varieties I'm growing as well. And it is also possible that this list might change. So, you know, whatever. I'm going to be trying the Paul Robeson for the first time this year. And a few of these seeds came from this website called Tomato Fest. And I really like this website. I really like the variety of seeds they have. They also offer a lot of dwarf tomato plants, which is great for people who don't have a ton of growing space and want to try gardening in containers. So check them out for that. I'm also doing carbon, which is another regrow for me. I had this last year and I absolutely loved it. So regrowing that one. And the Chianti Rose is one of my all-time favorite tomatoes ever, like of all time. So regrowing that one. Finally bought my own seeds of this. I keep pawning them off of Katie and I finally bought my own. The next one is from Seeds Now and it is pink brandywine. This was one of the 99-cent packs. It has like 15 seeds in it. We'll see if we like it. If we do, then there we go. I'm also doing the triple crop again from In My Gardener. I hate the way this is spelled. When I spell it like triple, like the word, not with the L. It's obnoxious to me, but here we go. I'm growing that one again. I grew that one last year. Doing a San Marzano because it's a classic sauce tomato. It seems like the San Marzano is always my most productive tomato plant. Every year, I always have San Marzanos coming out my ears, even through like the end of the season. Like when the frost comes, I have to pull green San Marzanos off every single year. So I will always regrow that. The next one is the Kellogg's Breakfast, which was one of my favorite tomatoes from last year. These are huge, they are delicious, and I love them. So we're doing that one. And the Aunt Ruby's German Green, which I bought last year on a whim because of the name, because my great grandma's name was Ruby and I loved her very much. And these are amazing. These are amazing. These were my top 3 favorite tomatoes of 2020. I actually ranked all my tomatoes of 2020 in a different video, so I will link that down below as well. Now I am doing some other varieties that I don't have the seeds for yet, and I'm just gonna read them off. They are Blonde Girl Cherry, which I did plant last year, but I don't have any seeds for it, and I don't know why I don't have any seeds, but I got them from Katie, so if she doesn't have more, I might buy some. I'm going to be trying the Amana Orange, Delicious, Isis Candy Cherry, Black Cherry, and Firebird. Now, most of those came from Tomato Fest, those seeds. The Delicious, I know, is a burpee seed, and the Delicious was delicious. I am super excited for the new cherry tomato varieties, the Isis Candy and the Black Cherry. Those are 2 varieties of cherries that I have never really had much experience with, and so I'm super excited about trying those as well. So, those are my varieties for 2021. I am so excited to see how this goes and to get seeds in the ground, get seeds in the dirt, and get started. I'm tired of the cold and I'm tired of not gardening. So thank you so much for joining me. I can't wait to hear what kind of things you're looking forward to planting this year. Let me know down below and I will see you in the next one.